In the case of, I forgot my job, yes, Jean Rhys, I thought that the main thing I needed to understand about Jean Rhys more than anything else was Dominica, this beautiful island, wild, strange, very young Caribbean island that she grew up in until she came to England as a girl of 15. And I couldn't have written that book without spending time out there and doing what I did with Helenise too, which is literally walking in the tracks of the person. I do that pretty much with all my books. I haven't been able to do it for reasons we might come to with the one I'm doing at the moment. But with Mary Shelley, with Ada Lovelace, with the Bugatti Queen, and with Jean Rhys, I've tried as much as I can to see where they were and to imagine the places through their eyes and how the places affected them, which in the case of Jean Rhys is immensely important. I called my book the Haunted Life of Jean Rhys because I do believe she was haunted in a benevolent way for the rest of her days.
You called it two things, didn't you? Because you
Yes.
also called it I Used to Live Here Once.
I used to live here.
So it's a question of, and in a way there's more than one place, isn't there? Because she spent so much of her latter life moving all around.
Curiously, I think one can find very odd points of contact. And I was very surprised when I was in Devon, in that strange little village, which is right down at the bottom of a kind of cleft, hidden away. It was interesting to see that what it could have reminded her of very strongly was Dominica. And when I was writing about Robert Graves, I found that when I went out to Dea, from going to Harlech, which is where his parents had a house, I find this extraordinary amphitheatre of rock and find myself thinking in Dea about Harlech. So you have these points where you suddenly do enter their mind because you can see why they needed to be there. And I couldn't, without spending more time than I really wanted to in Devon and even spending a night in a funny little cottage where Jean Rhys lived, I couldn't have understood how complicated Jean Rhys's attitude to that place was. For those of you who don't know about this aspect of Jean Rhys, she would write, once she'd become famous in 1966, finally, but you assumed she was dead, then she wrote The White Sargasso Sea and bingo, she's the biggest name in the world of fiction, almost. And she enjoyed it and she didn't enjoy it. She actually was not a social person. She liked to hide away and watch people. And she would write to her friends like Sonia Orwell and Diana Attill and Francis Wyndham in London. Francis actually didn't press her, the one you know best. He was sensitive enough to know that she didn't really want to come and spend time there. But to the others, she would always pretend she was longing to come to London, say, oh, it's a dreadful place, oh, I can't bear it, oh, I'm so wretched here. But when poor Diana Attill, with the best will in the world, tried to find her a nice home in, I think, Chingford, where she bought the furniture and she got the place, except it turned out it hadn't yet been built. Diana Attill made a bit of money there, but anyway, it was a really nice idea. Jean Rhys was frankly delighted that Diana Attill had made a muddle. The last thing she wanted to do was to come and live in Chigwell, so I can't remember which, but it doesn't really matter.